Hello, everybody. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right, very good. All right, well, good evening. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the South Haven City Council for Monday, September the 17th, 2018. I'll call the meeting to order. Before we get going, I just want to thank everybody. We've never been outdoors before, so about 2 minutes we'll be able to see you. So be patient. We're doing our best on the volume. If we lose it, just wave to us. We'll yell out. The invocation this evening will be given by the Reverend Aaron Cobbs of the Spiritual Church of Christ. Thank you, Aaron.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this city that we call South Haven. Heavenly Father, we ask you to bless this council. We ask you to bless the entire city government. Father God, we ask you to a special protection around the police and the fire. Father God, we ask you to give the council people a mind that seeks after your wisdom, that they in turn may lead the city with the mind that you give them, a mind that will work to benefit all the people and not just a few. Father God, we know if we trust you, all things are possible. And Father God, we trust in you tonight to uplift this council, to keep this council in your will and your way. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Aaron. Now if you'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so how many of you have been to a city council meeting in the last 3 months? Oh, that means all the rest of you have not. Well, welcome to everybody else. I'd like to see all these new faces. Next, we have the roll call. Travis.
Chris Campbell. Clark Gruber.
Here.
Joe Reeser.
Here.
Steve Schlott.
Here.
George Sleeper.
Here.
Letitia Wilkins.
Here.
Scott Smith.
Here.
Mayor, I would move to excuse Chris Campbell for personal reasons.
Second.
Very good. We have a motion and a second to excuse Chris Campbell. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. None? He's excused. Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The agenda is approved. We're going to deviate just for a little bit here. I asked the high school student council to join us, and I want to thank their principal, Mr. Sardina, and if the students would graciously come up. So here's your future of your city leader, so let them come up and give them a round. Thank you for coming. Head up to that podium there. We'll test your volume. So they're all very busy. Their goal was to get in and get out quick. So I said, I'll get them in and get them out. They all have lots of things to go do. So I want to thank you for coming. They weren't prepared, other than I told them I might ask you a few questions tonight. So I did give them a little heads up. I asked them, I said, just tell us why you got involved in student government. Tell us, they got a list of the cities, the goals that we identified. And I said, take a look at those. Don't have to choose one, but what would be a goal you might think is important as our young leaders? And then your curveball question is your favorite flavor of Sherman's ice cream. There you go. So go Let's hear. Oh, sorry, and introduce yourself. Sorry, your name, your grade, your like if you have a title on the student council, that'd be great.
My name is Chloe Kinney. I am the senior class president. Well, why I got in student council was mainly I've been president for the past 4 years of my class, and I first got into student council because I had so many ideas that I wanted to be implemented in my high school career. And as president, I was actually able to do that. So, that's a big thing for me. But my favorite Sherman's ice cream flavor is strawberry shortcake.
Very good. Thank you, Chloe.
Okay. I'm Macy Jenks. I'm the vice president of the senior class, and I joined student council because, well, one, I like South Haven a lot. I've always lived here, and I really like the high school. I love school. That's always been a big thing for me. It's not really okay, it's bad to say the learning part, but I really like being a group, and I like the family of South Haven. So I wanted to be kind of a voice for the grade. So I like hearing other people's ideas and pushing mine in and helping people figure it out and be more of a family in our grade and our school. And my favorite Sherman's ice cream is cotton candy.
Very good.
Hi, I'm Tori Loikitz. I'm junior class president, and I originally got into student council. I've been serving for the past 3 years as president, and I got in because I wanted to make sure that our grade had a voice. I always thought, making sure the students had a voice and a say in school was really important, because I think it makes them more interested in what's going on in school and can make them more active members of the community eventually. And my favorite Sherman's ice cream flavor is chocolate almond.
My name is Opal Eddy. I serve as a cabinet member for the junior class. This is my first year in student council, and I got involved just because I wanted to be more involved in the decision-making processes and a lot of the events that student council held. And my favorite Sherman's ice cream flavor is cookie dough.
Okay, all right. So did you guys come up with a priority? Did the 5 of you identify one priority? No, you get one. Oh, we got one more. Got one. One more. Oh, wait a minute. One more.
I'm Colin Watkins, and I'm not a part of the student council. I'm actually president of our Be Nice program. So what I did the Be Nice program, it's a mental health awareness, bullying, and suicide prevention program that we started last year and I took leadership of. So yeah, we came up, we're all in it, yeah. We came up with our goal for the year is to have the council of our community be more involved in the projects we do throughout the school. So if you guys want to advertise or invite community members like all these people here right now to fundraisers and stuff that we do, we would love that.
Get us the information. We love to. That's a great program. So thank you very much to all of you for coming out.
Favorite ice cream? I actually work at Sherman, so my favorite flavor is the Amaretto Cherry Mower.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you guys for taking time out of your schedule, okay? Thank you very much. All right. Thank you again. You guys can sneak out. I know you guys got to go. Next, we have the consent agenda items A through C.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda items A through C.
Second.
All right, motion is second. Any discussion? Hearing none, this is a roll call.
Gruber,
Yes.
Reeser,
Yes.
Schlott,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Wilkins,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Old business item 7. City Council will be asked to consider the following actions related to the commercial rehab district. Item A, council will be asked to host a public hearing on the proposed commercial rehab district. So let's take a motion and a second roll.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on the proposed commercial rehab district.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Brian, you want to explain it now, and then we'll open it.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the public, first I want to note that I'm receiving a variety of text messages about the quality of the audio as well as the streaming service. We are doing our very best to make sure that audio and video is going out live over the city's website. But I would remind anyone who has concerns, we are recording this. It'll be up onto the city's webpage within the next day. So if for whatever reason people aren't able to watch this online or from home, that they can see the recording in the next day or so. Now, with that said, the commercial rehab district is something that the city council has taken affirmative action on over the last 2 meetings. For tonight, the council will be asked to host a public hearing, and then upon conclusion of the public hearing, consider a formal action to adopt the rehab district. The vacant property next to the Masonic Temple is 335 Center Street. There is a developer who is proposing an investment of approximately $4 million to create a new mixed-use development. It would have commercial on the main floor and then up to 18 apartments on the second and third floor. That developer is formally requesting the commercial rehab district to provide an abatement for some of the investments that his team is looking to put into Center Street. Now, a variety of folks throughout the community received mailings from the city of South Haven. Those were sent out certified mail. And certified mail is one of the more costly ways of sending mail. But to comply with the state law, the city was compelled to send the notices via certified mail. There's approximately 800 properties within the district that received notice of the upcoming plan. Now, the intent of the city council, as staff understands it, is to make a very large district with the understanding that these abatement requests are handled on a case-by-case basis. By making a very large district, you're opening it up for hundreds of properties to come to you and request the potential abatement. Now, the abatements are handled on a case-by-case basis. They are handled with individual contracts decided by the city council. But the overriding logic was try and pick up as many of potentially blighted or vacant properties as possible within the district and send that off to the County Board of Commissioners for consideration. The County Board of Commissioners may say yes, they may say no. But by creating the district very large in scale, you're ensuring that they have the flexibility to say no, but we will reconsider if you shrink the district. Or if they say yes, what you're ensuring is that you don't have to come back multiple times to amend the district. Now, with that said, the district allows the city council and potential developers a new tool to encourage new growth within the downtown and within the overall district. The intent, as I understand it on behalf of council, is to try and encourage new mixed-use developments that allow for commercial and job creation on the main floor, and then create incentives to create upstairs downtown living, so single and 2-bedroom apartments to be built in the downtown. I anticipate if the council moves forward with the district, you are likely to see several of these abatement requests over the next 12 months. We have it on very good authority that a variety of properties are in the process of being purchased within the downtown, and you could see new apartment living in the downtown in the coming years. Now, something that staff has made clear on behalf of council is that the council is saying, yes, we are willing to consider these abatements, these tools and incentives, but we want people living in the city, in the downtown throughout the year. So we would be tying these abatement requests to commitments that these would be market rate apartments and they would be lived in on a long-term basis, not pushed into the short-term rental pool. I've tried to answer every question I anticipate the council or the public may have. I will happily answer any questions, sir.
Sounds good. Well, let's actually vote on the opening the public hearing up. So we have a motion and a second to open a public hearing. All those in favor say aye. 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 Opposed, no. All right, public hearing is open. So this is a chance if anyone in the public has a question on this commercial rehab district, we're happy to discuss it. See one coming up. So if you want to come on up, just state your name, address, and you'll have up to 5 minutes to address the council.
Good evening, Council. Kent Johnson, 627 Church Street. I commented that I'm not opposed to abatement district, but I think we're really getting ahead of ourselves. We need zoning, some type of overlay requirements. We don't know if short-term rentals will be allowed. We don't know if any environmental regulations on the reconstruction of old buildings will be in place. A lot of these things you can add to the zoning requirements, and someone's getting a significant tax break here. In addition, we're hearing that Hales may either be reconditioned or torn down, and I would think that there would be lead paint there and possibly asbestos. I think that we need to take some time to get some kind of rules in place before we rush ahead. As far as the development on Center Street, that's Matt O'Connor, the same guy that tried to put a postage stamp sized lot on Broadway last year. He cut the aisleways down, and he also cut the space requirements down as far as their length to jam as many cars into a parking lot as possible. We don't know what the proposal is. We do not see the building, at least I don't see plans. Where do the cars go? So, are we going to just have a slew of variances approved one after another as these things come into place? So I know this sounds negative, but really it isn't negative. I like the abatement district. I think it's a good idea if you put something in place prior to rushing forward with this. So thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thank you for coming out.
Any other questions?
Very much. My name's Richard Edwards. Our place is 414 Eagle Street. And, well, I'm personally thrilled to see some organization and redevelopment coming downtown. It's sorely needed. There's one issue that comes up at, say, Verano, and that is parking. We've got enough, and sometimes we get encroached on. So I would say build on the comment you've just heard that I think any developments like multi-family units need to think very closely about parking, and maybe it should be on site,
Yeah,
or provisions made elsewhere. Otherwise, things just won't get better.
absolutely.
Just wanted to add that.
Great.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you for coming out. Oh, got a few more coming.
Hello, Vicki Anderson, 457 LaGrange. I heard the comment about the cost of these apartments that are market rate. I have three apartments that are in South Haven, and they're for people who can actually afford them. When I fill out my tax problems, I check to see what the average price for a single bedroom apartment is in Van Buren County. It's over $700 a month. A lot of people can't afford over $700 a month, and this is a one bedroom. Just wanted to make that comment that maybe market rate, especially for South Haven, is not a good idea for encouraging people to live here. Thank you.
Thanks. Oh, got someone else coming down.
Hello, my name's Owen Ramey, 136 East Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan. I represent Captain Lewis, and frankly, I found out about this about an hour ago, so I have a couple questions that might seem like dumb questions, but my first inquiry is to whether or not this in any way changes the zoning for existing properties.
No.
No? And secondly, then, decibel levels and that sort of thing are not in any way affected by this proposal?
No.
And no restrictions whatsoever added to any of the existing properties?
No, this is a proposal to create incentives to rehabilitate properties within this district. That's all.
Okay, so it doesn't affect your zoning at all if you're and modify it in any fashion. It's just something that somebody can take advantage of potentially.
This is
if
a
they want
tool.
to redevelop it.
Correct. This is
Okay.
a tool to spur economic development.
And mixed uses, are those defined somewhere yet, or are they still a work in progress?
You can.
So, Mr. Mayor has noted to you that this does not change the zoning on any property within the district. The mayor has also noted that this has no impact on the city's adopted noise ordinance. And then finally, the mixed uses are defined within the zoning ordinance. Just to continue on, the district, again, all this is doing is allowing for the council to receive these applications. The council will consider applications on a case-by-case basis. It is clear in the district, it has been stated repeatedly by staff and at the last two council meetings that the planning and zoning requirements on the subject parcel will stand. The having a property within the district does not change the planning and zoning requirements. And then with regards to whether or not market rate will be impacted, as noted in the last council meeting, the abatement agreements will be handled on a parcel-by-parcel basis, and clawback agreements will be built into those abatement agreements to ensure compliance by the developer. He or she says they're going to do something. If they fail to do that, then the city council can exercise the clawback agreement and claw back the abated amount.
Okay, so are the uses then just whatever the particular application is?
I mean,
the uses
yeah,
allow
whatever.
under Public Act 210 of the Commercial Rehab Act, it allows for mixed-use developments, assuming that the zoning permits that type of development.
Okay, so it refers back to the zoning now?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me who the members or some of the members of the LLC that are making this request are?
Sure, it's stated in the packet.
I don't have a packet.
Okay. So it's 335 Center Street on behalf of South Haven Center LLC, a Michigan limited liability company. This was written by Jared Belka of Warner Norcross on behalf of Mr. Matthew O'Connor.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Sir, if you go to our website, south-haven.com, go to the agenda section, and when you go home later, then you'll be able to pull that information down for your client. It's posted on our website.
Okay, like I said, I just got notice of
Yeah, I
this
know.
an hour ago.
It'll help you out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Linda Baker, 803 Green Street. It may be too early to voice this, but my main concern is that it is year-round apartments, not short-term rentals or condos. That's my biggest concern. Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. I think we would echo that sentiment. Anybody else? I got Pete coming down. We will not make you sing.
Good. I mean, it's okay. My name is Pete Wheely. I live at 565 Monroe Boulevard here in South Haven with my lovely wife Pamela Chappell, the star of the show. And I don't know if that pertains to the commercial rehab thing, but I really encourage South Haven developers or city council to approve a permanent performance venue. It used to be Fontaine Hall here in town, but now it's no longer there. We need a permanent venue for performers, small shows, concerts. Right now we're doing a South Haven theater series at Methodist Church. We can't find a venue. So I just would encourage council members to look at the fact that if someone comes in rehab commercially, that they or city helps them put a venue in to a permanent performance venue.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
All right. So we're still at the public hearing for the commercial rehab district. Any other questions on this? And if not hearing that, I'll have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is closed. All right, so next to get on to item B. Council will be asked to consider approval of Resolution 2018-44, a resolution to establish a commercial rehab district in the city's downtown and Broadway Street corridor. Just need a motion.
Make a motion that the council approve Resolution 2018-44, a resolution to establish a commercial rehab district in the city's downtown and Broadway Street corridor.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Brian, you filled this in. Any other public questions? This is pertaining to the item we just talked about. Hearing none. Council, anyone want to comment?
Just one question that on the map, it was what this is pertaining to was the black outline in that map. Yeah, I think it was option number 3 or something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, Mr. Slack, in the packet, under the resolution, there is 2 things. There's a legal description that spreads over about 4 pages, but then there's also a commercial rehab district option 3 map, which shows the district boundary within a very dark black line.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mayor, if I may, I think this is a great opportunity to help spur some of this type of development, and I think it's been mentioned a couple times. Don't want these apartments to be short-term rentals that we are funding through the tax abatement, and I think we had mentioned that is going to be included. And additionally, these projects are going to be taken on a case-by-case basis. The one project that I have had the opportunity to see had they had the parking on site for each one of the apartments, which was really nice, and covered parking. So it's an impressive little package in which the parking issue was taken care of, and these are market rate apartments. People were asking the question, what is a market rate apartment? And that's basically, an apartment that doesn't have any income restrictions tied to it. We have a housing study that has been performed, and South Haven and within the townships of South Haven, we do have quite a few apartments that do help people with income restrictions find a safe, comfortable, and nice place to live. Where we're finding we don't have a lot of are individuals who, both may be working and they make actually too much money to qualify for one of these apartments. They can't find places to rent. We do have, X number of units in town, and I think we had a need of 40 to 60 additional right now standard normal apartments that, an accountant who just got a job at one of our, industrial park here can't find a place to live that would be able to move in. So that's what we're looking for, and hoping to be able to provide for people to move here, start out in their apartment, and see where life takes them. So I think this is a great opportunity. Thank you, Mayor.
Brian talked about clawbacks, and we talked about abatement money, and I think some of the residents are concerned about how much teeth do we have in this. So when we talk about clawbacks, I know we talked about we can take the funds back from the developer. I thought last meeting, and I wasn't quite clear on it, is there something to do with a deed? Is there more than just the money? Because if the developer made a lot of money on this, a take-back on the abatement may not be enough to stop them from doing short-term rentals or whatever else they'd like.
So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, the clawback agreement is something that has been used for a number of years for industrial facilities tax abatements. For decades, the city has been using the industrial facilities tax abatement as a tool to try and retain and attract new industrial development in the various industrial parks. And we have issued clawbacks. Most recently, when Noble Industries was going through bankruptcy, they had a very large layoff. They no longer complied with their IFT agreement, and the city did issue a clawback. Another example would have been in a downtown property when a hotel no longer met its parking requirements. A version of a clawback was instituted in that case. So those are just two examples where the city has exercised this type of control. Whether or not the clawback agreement will be sufficient to satisfy the council is to be determined. We have not yet written nor agreed on any type of abatement contract. That is to come after the creation of the district. The city staff has made clear to the development team that at a minimum they are looking at a clawback agreement to ensure that these are long-term rentals and that they are truly market rate. Should the council wish to have even more stringent guidelines, that's a conversation that staff will happily have with the council.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? And so I think it's important, one, the city's undertaken a housing study, and that study shows a need for 60, I think that was the magic number, but immediate need for 60 market rate apartments. So this is one step in that direction. The other thing, just as we're talking about abatements, this is on new or added taxable value. So it's not as though these are, they're getting away without paying taxes. So kind of to think of it is, without this, some of these properties may never get improved. So this is saying improve them. They get to keep it at the old rate and for a period of time, and then it uncaps. So for instance, I think I've been in town 27 years now. Hales is set pretty quiet during that time. So maybe now this is just one tool so we can see that, building improved. And there's others. So our goal is really, we continue to look at tools that are available. We have Jill Bland coming up in a minute from Southwest Michigan First. If it can spur economic development, we should be looking into it. So that's what we're trying to do here. So if there's no other questions, I'll call the question. Good. All right. I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 2018-44, a resolution to establish a commercial rehab district in the city's downtown and Broadway Street corridor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is approved. Thank you, everybody. Looking out. Do we have the judge here? Coming up. Very good. Hey, hiding back there. Next, we're going to receive an update on the state of the court in Allegan County, presented by Judge William A. I'm going to Balargian. All right. Was that close?
Balargian, yes,
Ooh,
absolutely.
Very good. Welcome.
I got involved
Your
in
Honor,
student
thank you.
government to get the wrestling team the sort of recognition it needed instead of the basketball team. And salted caramel ice cream.
Excellent.
So,
That's what I should ask. Excellent. Very good.
So there's a tiny, tiny portion of South Haven that is part of Allegan's electorate. So we have a state of the court report that we provide. It's on our website, and anyone is invited to go there. It gives a real snapshot as to criminal activity, the DUIs, DVs, any aspect of crime in Allegan County that takes place. There's a snapshot of that on there. It also provides a good summary of some of the things that we're doing in the courts, in particular in conjunction with Van Buren is our specialty courts, and in particular to that, our Veterans Treatment Court. I'll be very brief because Judge Brickley, who is the chief judge in Papaw for Van Buren, and she has worked with me to develop this Veterans Treatment Court, and it's been a great success. This last May, we had a fantastic 10th graduation ceremony, and now that was just updated just last week with our 11th graduation of, so that makes it I believe it's 23 veterans have graduated from our program, and it's a minimum of an 18-month program. It does great work, and I think it really shows the ability of both Allegan County and Van Buren County to coordinate their efforts, and actually we have Ottawa County involved now as well. So it's a great opportunity to show how the different governmental units can work together, and the courts are, at least in this particular instance, leading the way. It looks like you got a pretty full agenda, so I'm happy to take any questions either from you or from the crowd but I don't want to take up too much time. Don't let a lawyer just talk and talk.
No, that's all right. You already answered my question. You got the ice cream question, so you're
Yeah,
good.
all right.
Any other
Great.
questions? If not, no.
I do thank you for inviting me. I've never been to a city council meeting where some of them are sitting here with hats and sunglasses on. I'm loving it.
We're trying. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you for
what
having
you do.
me.
So we appreciate it. All right, next we will receive an update on the local economic development retention efforts presented by Ms. Jill Bland of Southwest Michigan First. And pay close attention. She's got good stuff.
Great. So this is going to be really a test of City Council in the park. So we've got a PowerPoint up here. I'm going to try, because I know it's hard for everybody to see. I'm going to
And
try.
it will be on the website. So we will
Yes.
post all this on the website.
It will be on
so.
the website, but I'm going to try and kind of, I hate to read things, but I'm going to read things, so no, it's okay. So we'll kind of go through this. So mayor, council members, and citizens, and I got to So earlier this year, I was before you talking about some of the findings that we had as we were working with site consultants to talk about South Haven and the attraction opportunities. During that conversation, we talked about the questions that they had for us, and many of those questions geared around how well do you know your existing businesses, as well as how are we going to address any labor force issues. So as we worked with the city leadership, many of you on the council, to talk about those things, we decided that we should do some focus groups with our businesses throughout the South Haven area. I will tell you, it was kind of cool because the mayor and your staff, and I think probably some of you got a jump on us and started doing some retention calling and going out and meeting with businesses. So you already learned some of these things, but to get it in a format where we had the businesses all in a room together and talking about really kind of some consensus questions. So I'm going to run through some of the findings that we received from the focus groups and share with you some thoughts and ideas along the way. All right, it works. Yay. So kind of the makeup of the group that we visited with. So over the course of 3 sessions, we had approximately 30 companies meet in our focus group. Of those 30 companies, 49% of them were from the manufacturing area, and you can see South Haven has, actually for a smaller community, has a pretty diverse makeup of your manufacturing community. So we had aerospace, automotive, pharmaceutical, medical device, general manufacturing, and food processing all represented in those meetings. 36% of the focus groups were made up of retail and service-oriented businesses. And then 15% were other, and that was made up of some governmental folks, nonprofit entities, and then we had some private citizens join us, which was gave us some really unique focuses. So some of the characteristics of the group. The majority of the participants owned the businesses and the facilities that they represented. That's a good thing. That means there is local ownership of facilities, very important for us. 45% of them are U.S. or international-based firms. That can be a little challenging for us because sometimes the decisions on growth and investment are made somewhere else. But what that also gives us is an opportunity to go and meet with those businesses, with their leadership team wherever they are based, and to talk about the importance of those businesses in our community. So that's an opportunity for us as a community. More than half of the businesses have made investment in equipment and facilities over the past 3 years. And we dug in a little bit deeper and we asked them, how did you perceive your existing equipment and facilities? And the response that we got was everything was good to excellent. Again, that's a very important point. These companies intend to stay in this community and grow in this community. They continue to invest in it and enhance their facilities. So we were very excited to hear that. 61% of the companies indicated that they plan to expand in the next 3 years and would consider doing it in the city of South Haven if, and I think these are, as I've been working with your leadership team, these are things that have come up as we have worked on different attraction opportunities. But if there is appropriate land and or building and it's available with infrastructure, if there is labor availability at the right cost, and then depending on where their customer location is, and that is something that we can't control. So that's an obvious. Some opportunities that were presented to us. The majority of the companies do not have a succession plan in place. That is really important. We have many companies that are older companies in this community and older businesses in the community that have been in a family, and perhaps there's not another family member or kind of that next generation person identified. And so that's something that we need to keep a good focus on. And then the majority of the companies do not have a strategic plan in place. So they don't necessarily know where they're going to be in 5 years and in 10 years, and what markets are they going to serve, and how do they have to diversify. So those are some things that presented us with some great opportunities. Over the next 3 years, companies expect less than 10% growth in their employment levels. That's pretty common. We're seeing that in other parts of the state, so nothing to be extremely alarmed about. Over the past 3 years, unfilled positions remain common. And what that means is the same positions continue to be open on a constant basis. And so they're not finding people with specific skill sets. And as we get a little bit further into this, we'll talk a little bit more about what those specific skill sets are. Again, it's a negative, but it's an opportunity for us to work with the business community and make some improvements there. In the next 5 to 10 years, approximately 22% of the existing workforce is expected to retire in this community. That's actually lower than what we're seeing in many communities, so that's a good thing. But when we look at our statistics for our K through 12 enrollment and then some of our higher education in the region, we are down there. So we have to come up with a strategy of how we are going to backfill those positions where individuals retire out of those positions. The majority of the companies that participated indicated that they do actively participate in a K through 12 program to help address future skill gap issues. That's a great thing. 81% of the companies participate in some type of internship program. That's a pretty high number, so you all have a lot to be proud of, that your companies are focusing on the future and looking at internships and how to bring people into the community. We typically see somebody that does an internship, 67% of the time will return to that company upon graduation from a college if they're going to college. And so that's a pretty good thing to have internships, especially if you're bringing in, if you can't fulfill the talent need here locally, if you're bringing in from outside. That's an opportunity for you all to grow the community from an outside perspective. Here was an opportunity that we identified as we were going through this. The majority of the companies indicated they do not participate with Lake Michigan College to address skill issues or training, and 70% of them indicated they were not aware of the programs offered at either the South Haven or Benton Harbor campuses. So that's an opportunity, and we'll dig in a little bit deeper to that one as we go forward. So workforce, as I had indicated, we spent a great deal of time talking with the companies about what the skills needs were for those companies, and primarily we focused around a lot of them around trades, as well as obviously because we're a little bit more retail in this area, some retail skills, but maintenance skills, manufacturing and production skills, business and professional skills, customer service. And customer service, that's something that crosses all paths. That's retail as well as that manufacturing area. Sales, leadership skills, social media and marketing skills, sensors and automated electromechanical controls and devices. That's a long one, but that is definitely an area that we heard about. And then basic mechanical and machine maintenance. Again, these things are all fairly common. So as we went through and asked the questions, and we had about 100 questions that we took every company through, and they used handheld voting devices, so nobody necessarily had to tell exactly for them, this is what my greatest challenge is. But again, we've identified these are all opportunities for us to go back during our retention calls and dig in a little bit deeper with companies. But one of the other things that we talked with them about is, what is your perspective of the community? How do you perceive the community today? And here are some of the things that were shared with us, and many of these things will be of no surprise to anybody that's here today. But the overall opinion of the business climate in South Haven and the state of Michigan is relatively good. The quality of life in South Haven is viewed as good to excellent. Basically, some of the things that were highlighted, it's a small town community, great people, and I heard several times, it's the people, it's the people, it's the people, and I thought it was really cool that one of the gals from your student council said, the family of South Haven, which again is the people. And so I thought that was very nice. And then the other thing is lower cost of living. In the bigger sense, we do have a lower cost of living in this part of the country. So again, that's a tool that we can market. I know over here on the Lakeshore it's a little bit maybe more expensive, but it's still lower than many areas throughout the U.S. Walkable community. More and more having a walkable community is very, very important to our young people. They want to get out and be able to walk to the grocery store, walk to get their hair done, you know, all of these things. So walkable community is very important. Now we'll talk about some challenges a little bit farther down the road. Recreational opportunities, abundance of recreational opportunities, and we'll dig in a little bit more to that. Low crime rate. And these are all things that the companies are saying about us. Access to good education, so K through 12. The Technology Center in Lawrence was brought up multiple times. And then higher education and proximity to Chicago, Grand Rapids, and Detroit. The overall opinion of doing business in the city of South Haven, again, was excellent. On multiple occasions, your management team was highlighted as very good to work with, very easy to work with on the permitting process. They have an open door policy. They're very approachable. And then the positive reinvestment in the infrastructure that you know, and that's a choice you all make, and you have made some excellent choices on where to reinvest, so we encourage you to continue down that path. It's noted. And these things are all really important, because if a company is looking at moving into your community, many times today they will go to the company first before we as the community leaders ever know that they're coming into the community. And they will ask them about doing business in the community. So for you to know and understand the perspective of your local companies, I think that's a really important thing. So we talked a little bit about the future and the prosperity of the community and what were the things that were going to drive us going forward. And so here are some of the highlights that we came back with. So the diversification of the business community, the influence on tourism and a zeal for change to get the citizen buy-in on that, yes, we are a tourism community, but also we have to have year-round business in this community in order to keep people living here. And so building upon the diversity that you already have, as we saw in that first slide, we're a pretty diverse community, so how do we build upon that and continue to grow while at the same time we support and uplift the tourism industry? Population, we touched a little bit on this. We have an aging population. It is a little bit older community when you look at the demographics of the community. And then we need to do some work on attracting the young people into the area. Workforce, the ability to recruit and retain. We heard this on several occasions from the companies, especially if they are looking at recruiting a little bit more seasoned individuals, that it is a little bit of a struggle for them to recruit into the area. If there's family associated with it, and we need to have a dual income household, it's a little bit more challenging to locate in a smaller community. Again, education, engagement, and training with the K through 12 and higher education. We identified many opportunities, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Amenities. So this is one of the things that we did spend some time talking about, and this goes on the attraction of new talent into the community, especially somebody that doesn't know, has never lived in Michigan or lived in the climate that we have, is that year-round recreational opportunity. We typically, and from what we got from the companies, you know, yeah, we can go to St. Joe, we can go to Holland, we can go to Kalamazoo for those indoor activities in the winter, but we don't have that available to us, and that would certainly be an enhancement if those things were available to us for indoor year-round activities or music festivals. It sounds like we've got some ideas on music venues, so that's kind of nice. And then national brand retail. Again, I know that brings change in the community, but this was brought up, so we did want to share that with you. And then the transportation network. Again, because many households today are dual career households, you know, people may need to have one spouse here and one spouse another. For you as a community, that is a little bit of a challenge because it may make more sense for them to live somewhere else. So how do you create the environment here that it's easy for them to live in South Haven and the other partner drive to another nearby community? So to make this the central location. Some of the other drivers of future prosperity, and you just had quite a good conversation about housing. Housing continues to be another thing when we're talking about recruitment. The availability of affordable single-family workforce housing in the city or nearby in the immediate area. That came up on multiple times as an opportunity for the future. Year-round rentals, quality of the housing stock, the age and the state of repair of some homes. How do we enhance that? And I think you're going to hear a little bit more about some of the MISHDA programs coming up. Those might be some opportunities, again, to build upon these. And then infrastructure. Parking was brought up several times during our discussions, not only by the retail downtown area folks, but by the manufacturing folks. And talking about some creative ways that we might look at dealing with the parking situation, perhaps utilizing the schools or some of the other things during the off seasons for parking and then providing transportation. Roads, and we're going to dig in specifically to one item there. Utilities, power specifically, we did hear there were some areas where there was a little bit of brownout every once in a while, but it didn't appear to be huge, but we did hear that. And then cell and internet connectivity during the season. Apparently that's something that does become some challenging for some of the businesses. And then under this, the last but not least, the downtown public restroom. That came up quite a few times as we were having discussions. Again, these are things for you to be thinking about for the future and how do we continue to grow for the future from your business's perspective. So we didn't want to leave it here. We wanted to actually get some actionable steps that we could present back to you so that you know that things are moving forward. And so in August, we brought together several key community stakeholders who could make a difference in many of these areas. We brought them together and talked about some real specific issues, and we asked each one of them to step up and be a leader and take ownership of some of these items. So going forward, some of the business opportunities for us. Succession planning, again, we heard that. That was an area of need. So Kathy Wagman from the Chamber of Commerce took ownership of this, and guys, she has moved this thing forward. In October, actually October 26th, she has incorporated into the Chamber's annual summit a program on succession planning, buying or selling your business. We need to encourage our business leaders here as well as in nearby communities to come and be part of that learning opportunity. It's a scary thing for somebody to be thinking about, gosh, what's going to happen to my business in the future? But if you learn with others in the room, it's a great opportunity. And so Kathy has, she took ownership, took leadership on it, and has that scheduled to move forward. Another item was the strategic business planning. Again, same thing. She's taken ownership and moving that forward. The traditional business retention program, which again, the city has led on that and will continue to lead on that. And so we're very excited about that. And then another item was the plan for 2022. What happens when Palisades no longer operates? We need to start now to plan for that. We need to start now to plan for those individuals that are not in a position that they can retire. How do we help them find that job to fill the gap until they're old enough to retire? We want to keep them in South Haven, living in the community. What are the things that we need to put in place? And we kind of started having the discussion. Some of them will have the skill sets that Pfizer and Kalamazoo, who just announced a big expansion with 450 jobs, perhaps that's an opportunity for them. But M43 is a challenge. I mean, let's be real, a two-lane road, it's a challenge on many occasions. Do we start now to talk to the county, to talk to MDOT about a third lane, you know, passing lanes or things similar to that? Now's the time, because we have time right now to start planning those types of things. It's because we want those people to stay rooted in South Haven, in the community. So again, that's something that we need to take leadership, and actually the city did volunteer. So I'm looking at Brian. He will take ownership of that and help to move that forward. Workforce opportunities. So one of the key areas we talked about, South Haven Public Schools, and I got to tell you, we changed the font on this, and when we changed the font, it put some of the things that should be capitalized into lowercase. So South Haven Public Schools, we talked about an awareness campaign of the things that the schools are working on and getting the companies more, more directly connected with the schools and developing programs and looking at how they're teaching different classes so that the young people, if college isn't their pathway, they have an opportunity to come right out of school and go to work with one of the companies in town. So we talked about a mentorship program, speaker series, summer internship programs, company tours, hospitality programs. And we actually had one business volunteer that they would take ownership with the schools on that one, and that was Taste. So City of South Haven, in partnership with the schools, will take the lead on this, and this will become part of the retention programs. A specific area that was brought up, and the schools did say that they will continue to look at, is in the robotics area. And then Lake Michigan College, as I indicated to you, all of the 70% of the companies said that that was an area of concern for them. So Lake Michigan College did join us during this, and they did agree that they could do a much better job of awareness and programming here in the community. They do very actively work with the Michigan Works for this area, Connexus, on Manufacturing Day. So how do we enhance that and highlight that? Perhaps Lake Michigan College did say that, maybe a parent night awareness program, working on their credentialing, healthcare programming, and then they do have the ability to do virtual classrooms, so to actually offer classes here that they're teaching down at the Benton Harbor campus, so perhaps we don't have to drive to Benton Harbor to have those classes. So they were going to dig in deeper to those types of programs right off the bat. And these are all things that everybody agreed to start in the next 4 to 6 months. So these things are moving forward. Continuing on with Lake Michigan College, and you see the whole list again of the specific skills that they'll focus on. And then talent, industry, and recruitment. So do we develop as a community a specific strategy around talent recruitment for our companies, with our companies? So perhaps it's a video, perhaps it's a website that showcases all of the companies here in the area and the opportunities. Some of the other items in the Go Forward strategy, we talked about housing. You all are working on that. One of the other things that came up, and this was really, and Brian, jump in if I'm incorrect, this was really primarily directed towards the housing situation, was that the permit and tap fee was a challenge for many in order to get water. And so that's something that you have an authority that oversees that. We don't know that we can change that, but maybe we can do some other things to work towards making it more affordable. Again, those year-round amenities, the Convention and Visitors Bureau said they would step up and begin to work on that. And then future sites in all categories, industrial sites, residential sites, and then the indoor recreation sites, and as well as the parking. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and it's really kind of neat because the mayor was going around and he was handing out the city council priorities that you all developed earlier in the year. And the first 3 items, especially item number 2, you are doing everything you said you were going to do. So congratulations to you all, and thank you for your leadership. Any questions? That's a lot,
Great.
to absorb.
I think that's great. We appreciate the update. So
keep going.
Keep going. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Great. Yes, sir.
I listened to everything you said about economic development, and I understand land, labor, housing. The part that is so frustrating for a lot of residents, myself very much included, and I've talked to the mayor about economic development till I'm blue in the face, is the whole issue of labor. We need more skilled labor in the state. We need more skilled labor in this town. We have got to do something, some concrete, and maybe you can take leadership on it, some concrete measures to get students from the high school involved in high school learning skilled labor. And I know we have the place in Lawrence. I've been there. It's wonderful. It just doesn't seem to be anything pushing this. And then we have a community college, which you said 70% of owners of businesses are not satisfied with what the college is doing. I have heard this over and over and over again, and we got to do something. We're working on housing, which is the other piece of this. That's why short-term rental, where some people don't like to talk about it, but we're attacking this because we have to fix this. But we got to fix the labor issue. We have to have skilled labor. It is horrible to have a person living in Elkinburg Park and come to me and say, I'm afraid my child can't get a job here and they don't have the skills to go elsewhere. They should be able to get them here. They should be able to start in high school, have counselors and teachers explain to them all the options, and then have a community college that can take employers here in this town and say, you need this job, and you said there are jobs over and over again, the same ones unfilled. Why don't we have a course at the community college specifically with that employer in mind and fill those jobs? Have someone learn, have the employer tell us, what skill set do these kids need? And if they do those skill sets, we will hire them. We need that from you. We need help, because there's no reason with a community college here in town and another one in South Haven that we can't do that. And then I've been to Lawrence, and that school is wonderful. The biggest problem is getting kids there and the busing and transportation. But we got to fix this, because everyone knows in this town there's not enough skilled labor. You can't call a plumber or a carpenter, and that's let alone the businesses that we have. So anything that you can do, Jill, to help us get that skilled labor would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I think everybody was agreeable to work on that exact area, and getting the students into the companies so they can see firsthand before they're in high school, so that later elementary, early middle school, so that they can see what really goes on and what a trades position means and all those things. And I think we'll see that happen.
Yeah, and it's great. We've got Mr. Sardina's back there, our high school principal's back there, and thank you for sticking around. And I know we're working with them, and LMC, we're working hard. I just talked to them earlier today. We've got some things cooking to get some manufacturers going. So I mean, they're aware.
They're aware. They're very aware.
We're working. So rest assured, there's some projects coming with LMC in mind to try to train our workforce. So, any other questions? If not, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. All right, let's keep cruising. Next item, City Council be asked to host a public hearing and receive public comment on the Michigan State Housing Development Authority Homeowner Rehabilitation Program Grant. Just need a motion and a second to open this up.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing to receive public comment on the Michigan State Housing Development Authority Homeowner Rehabilitation Program Grant.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Brian, you want to tell us what this is about?
Deb Davidson to approach. Deb has been the person working the most actively on securing the MSHDA Homeowner Rehab Grant Program. While Deb approaches, put simply, what we're trying to do is capture state of Michigan dollars to put back into our local housing stock. City of South Haven has worked for several years to capture these dollars, and we're very happy to note that tonight you'll be asked to host a public hearing, which is one of those final steps towards capturing a new pot of money that can be made available to city residents to improve their homes. Deb?
Yes. Part of that is we do have a target area we're going for. That map should be in your packet. And within that target area, we have been awarded to be able to funds up to $200,000 up to 5 homes. And that would be actually, the city has 66, I'm confusing you. The city actually was awarded $66,000. However, we were advised by the program administrator to ask for $200,000 up to, so that way, if we were able to add additional homes, because the funds would be there by MSHDA, then we would be able to do that without having to go through another environmental review and a lot of other steps. So as Brian said, this is one of the steps for the public hearing tonight, and we are waiting on the grant agreement from the state, and also we will have a certified grant administrator agreement. So those two things will come before you in October as part of the steps to get moving on this grant. And then we will advertise and do our outreach to try to get homeowners to be involved in this program.
Mr. Mayor, I would advise the mosquitoes are beginning to come out,
Yeah.
so.
I'm ready.
So does that make sense?
Yep. Makes sense. We got a motion and a second. Let's open up the public hearing. All those in favor to open the public hearing, say aye. Aye. It is open. All right, so this is a chance, anybody in the public would like to, this is our chance to receive comments from you on this concept of, again, this is just money coming into the community to help fix up homes.
While the public is considering commenting, just again, the targeted area is off of South Haven Place, between between LaGrange and Blue Star Highway, and then it fans out towards Superior, and then also directly to the south. You can find the map on the city's website. Go ahead, sir.
Very good, thanks. If you'll just state your name and address for us, my friend.
Ahmad Goodwin, 1012 Kalamazoo Street, South Haven, Michigan. And just real briefly, I don't want to say too much on that, but I just want to say if you're in the public eye, you're subject to public scrutiny. And I just want to say to the council, I think we had poor planning on tonight because I know a lot of the residents had a lot of things they want to say, and we see that it's getting dark. And I'm just speaking for the people, and we didn't have a lot of time to say what we would like to say. So next time, I would hope that we would maybe start earlier, but I do commend you on the efforts, but I do say that it was poor planning on tonight, because you see already 50% of the people has already left. So maybe next time we could all do better.
Would anybody like to comment on the item we're discussing? All right, hearing none, I'll seek a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
All right, motion second to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It is closed. Very good. Next, we are at the point in the agenda where citizens in the audience will be heard on items not on the agenda. So if you have anything you'd like to discuss, you'll have up to 5 minutes. Come on up. State your name and address, and we would love to hear from you.
Steve Smulligan, 1375 Monroe. I'm here to say thank you. Several months ago, earlier this year, you took a somewhat difficult decision to allow us to do worship concerts on the river. We willingly went from 4 down to 3, and we willingly shortened our time from 90 minutes to 60. I want you to know that I do not like to exaggerate numbers. I want to be very careful. Last year we were very pleased. This year our numbers were up from last year. We conservatively believe that we're over 1,000 people at the 3 concerts. Now, a couple things. We think that it's a good thing for you to allow faith-based events, family-friendly events. There was some evidence of people coming into town for the concerts. We thought that was a positive. We were thrilled with how many people were walking the sidewalk, discovered what was happening, and then dropped in to join us. Last thing is we're very blessed here to have a strong ministerial association. But we had a number of people come to us and say, you're giving us a place and a time for the Church of South Haven to come together in unity. And we didn't plan it for that. Last year we had 7 partner churches, this year 9. But we believe and we understand there's different perspectives on faith. But we think it's a good thing when the churches are given a place where they can come together in unity for the sake of the city, which we all love and seek to serve. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. Mayor, great turnout.
Thank you very much.
I do not live near Phillips or in that residential area, but I do support the people, and
trying to push back on the use variance that was created. And the reason I'm here is because I received 3 formal letters in 3 days from the city. Truth exists, only falsehood has to be invented. That's a quotation from George Brock. On September 4th, Brian Dissett, the city manager, asked me in an email, and I quote, "Please let me know if there are any questions or concerns regarding the 3 lots on Phillips." I never responded with any questions or concerns, but I received 3 formal letters from the city dated between September 4th and 6th. This is my response to the letter regarding Phillips. We do know this. They got the use variance on Phillips. 2 South Haven natives didn't want to pay full price for a commercial lot. They said so in their ZBA remarks. And the city government made that happen. They got to invade an R1B residential neighborhood without a vote of elected officials. And according to them, in their ZBA statements, it saved them $100,000. The use variance on Phillips violated all tenets of our both master plans and is the advent or beginning of a strip development, an archaic form of development, should be relegated to the 20th century. Why did I receive a letter? I don't live near Phillips. The city needed to send you, the council, PC and ZBA, a letter defending several defenseless positions. And a letter to me would be some additional subterfuge of the real intent of the letter, which was to send it to you. And that would create smoke and mirrors around your ability to read 2 simple maps, the area maps and the medical area map, and to sow doubt around the true value of the 3 Phillips Street properties. Close means close. Sometimes something is either in an area or isn't. Close doesn't count. The letter states that the 3 residential lots are close to an area recommended for medical use. The joke as a kid that close only counted in horseshoes and hand grenades, but close apparently counts in use variances. If you are the city of South Haven, close should not count. There are 5 residential properties between these 3 lots on Phillips, including Francis Street itself before you get to Area 8. If close is the criteria, many people, including myself and my wife, are under the gun for a use variance. The area maps and medical use maps are clear. Close doesn't count, and Phillips Street residential lots are not even close. They're in Area 5. They're not in Area 8. You were told in a letter by Mr. Wright that Area 8 was never mentioned in his staff report. That is patently false. In fact, I read from his staff report, recommendation section. He recommended in the recommendation section, the 2011 master plan does, however, suggest in Chapter 7, existing and future land use planning Area 8. Right there, he mentions Area 8, that hospital and medical uses should be encouraged in this area. They're not encouraged because these 3 properties are in Area 5. They're not in Area 8.
You've got 1 minute, Ken.
Thank you. I appreciate it. There was no hardship on the part of the owner. The letter also argues that the properties could not be sold at the assessed value. But the assessor does not look in the house, inside the house, but Mr. Seiler certainly did. And Mr. Seiler said the house was unlivable. Unlivable, stating the properties under consideration contain 2 vacant lots and a rundown apartment house. It's not livable. Mr. Uminski stated, I'm giving away the house, trying to get 3 lots sold. And then he said he marketed the house using Craigslist for the last 5 years. And then finally, in final statements, I'm asking you to annul the use variance. Stop reducing residential acreage in the city. Number 1, the Planning Commission staff report recommends use variance and falsely states the 3 Phillips Street properties are in Area 8. They're not. They're in Area 5.
That's
2,
time, Ken.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening one more time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Got one or two more.
I hope I can see my notes, which I probably won't be able to. First of all, Joe, thank you so much for your comments on our labor situation here in South Haven. It is very difficult to find labor here, and to find skilled labor and people that are, oh, thanks, Brian. Jan Haglund, 811 Congress Street. And I am concerned about our future labor, and I'm particularly concerned about our future labor because of the issue that is on our November ballot about recreational marijuana and whether or not our state will approve it or not. It is a proven fact that youth are extremely affected by the use of marijuana. You've all heard me once before, but it's a very serious situation, and because of it, our children will have access to more and more marijuana, and there is extremely amount of evidence that it affects right from the womb our children's developing brain. And we need to have a workforce that is intelligent and smart in our community. South Haven is a blessed place, and we need to preserve that. And those of us who are here realize that we are blessed here. And I have a resolution for City Council that it would be the resolution opposing the recreational, not medical, recreational use of marijuana. And I would seriously like the city to consider this and do this. Many of the communities in our surrounding areas have done this, and I would like you as council members, and you're living here, you have your families here, and thanks. And I've got it, I'll hand it out to you. It's a sample. It can be adjusted however you want. And I also have, very quickly, because I'm getting bit by mosquitoes, the meaning of the November ballot initiative. And it clearly lists everything that could happen to our community and other communities across Michigan, and what can happen to families and children. So I'm going to leave this, pass it out, and but I would seriously like you to do this resolution. It will help to protect our community as a place where we want to continue to live, and also we need to be thinking about our future generation. We are retiring, we've heard it, we're all getting older, many of us here, and we need to really be thinking about them. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming out. Anybody else? Oh, here's your little Lottie. Come on in.
Lottie Resick, 712 Lee Street, and I'm going to make it really brief because it's awful out there with the bugs. I just wanted to say that we had a wonderful jazz festival again, and that was a combined effort with Foundry Hall and the Visitors Bureau, and it's been a real pleasure working with them. And I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who came out and to all of our dedicated Foundry Hall volunteers that made that happen, especially Larry and Beverly Brown, who are a real asset to our community, and we love them. And I would love to see nonprofits have a seat at the table in discussing the stuff that Ms. Bland presented. I really think that the nonprofit community could help do a lot for the economic development that we're talking about. So that's it.
Part.
I'm leaving. Oh, and I don't eat ice cream anymore. I'm lactose intolerant.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sherbert. All right. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Sold. Public Work Director's update. I see him out in the shadows. Mr. Bill Hunter. The street lights are on. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening, Your Honor, City Council. Tonight's up an update City Council on projects undergoing in South Haven and projects coming. Cemetery project We reevaluated the scope and the work that we had listed with the project. The scope came in a lot higher than we anticipated. I went to the Parks Commission with an adjusted scope to get it under get it at the 300,000 range, and we did. So those bid documents will be out on the street soon, and anticipating actually a spring construction of 2019. Dunkley Black River infrastructure improvement, that is substantially complete. I'm keeping that on the list for. We're still evaluating actually the sewer connection and supports. Liberty Hyde Bailey Museum, that's actually complete, 100%. Soil was removed from underneath the foundation and it was supported. I took pictures. I'll have those to the city manager by the end of this week. That was ESPN, my apologies. Splash pad. We are seeking actually proposals from engineers for design. Once we have those, we'll be presenting those to the Parks Commission, then City Council. Road diet. Current after the last presentation, the presentation is on the website. Plus, the set of plans are on there as well. Having a draft letter, having a letter done, and we should have a letter out to all the affected property owners by the end of this week. Safe routes to schools, we're applying for 2 actually, Lincoln Elementary and North Shore for sidewalk improvements on Aylworth, and then North Shore with a non-motorized trail along Blue Star. Newcomb Beach, we are still seeking actually proposals for a landing down at the bottom. HydroCorp continues its cross-connection inspections of commercial and residential customers. Staff is working on the design for 8th Street. Staff is working on a request for proposals to clean the pond at the DPW building and Veterans Detention Pond. Staff received a proposal for the Black River Habitats to treat Japanese knotweed, phragmites, and city property. Actually, they came out today and started treating for Japanese knotweed, so I will have a map to the city manager updating what areas were treated. And also, he will be treating 2 sites for phragmites, the detention pond at the DPW building, plus actually the industrial detention pond. South Beach, we're looking at building some E-walls under the existing concrete in the South Beach. If you ever noticed, actually, we're losing some of the sand underneath what we constructed on South Beach. So the idea is to build little walls underneath there to keep the sand actually in place so we're not losing all the money, all the work that we did, or the money invested in there. Dumpster enclosures, we're seeking proposals for that. Black River concrete pad, that'll be constructed soon. That's for actually emergency access onto the Black River. Installation of illuminated W11-2 signs for Phoenix and Hubbard. That'll be installed within the next month. And that's it. City Council have any questions?
Hey, Bill, what is a W11-2 sign?
That is actually from the Michigan Manual for Uniform Traffic Code and Devices. That's actually the sign. When you look it up, that sign comes up. That's actually the nomenclature for it. That sign. It is actually the triangle, and it shows the pedestrian right underneath it. What we're actually proposing in that location is one to where the whole outside perimeter of the sign lights, and it's actually radio controlled, so on either side of Phoenix someone can hit it and it illuminates the sign on both sides so traffic can see it. I've used it in other communities and you can see that for a good half-mile away.
Very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, city manager comments.
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, members of council, the guys sitting behind you, as well as Kate, Bill, Travis, they're the folks who really did the heavy lifting today as far as getting this set up. Phil and Jared did an awesome job of making this thing work on all of the logistics, as well as the recording, the amplification, and the presentation. So if you get a sec, give them a pat on the back.
Well done.
Those are my comments, sir.
Good job. Thank you. All right, council comments. Roll.
No comment.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Pecan praline.
Okay.
No comment.
Ice cream?
Yeah, I not only thank staff, but I saw a lot of volunteers out there. I think I saw Joe and Mickey putting stuff up and taking stuff down. as part of the community, and I appreciate your help as well. So, and thank everyone who came out.
Roll.
Again, I want to thank all the people that came out. Yeah, I appreciate Mr. Goodwin's comments. It probably could have been done a little bit better, but for the first time, I think it was a success. I also wanted to mention this weekend is the first Liberty Hyde Bailey Conference, and I think that's going to be a very good event for the first time. And that's all I have.
No ice cream? Joe?
No comment.
All right, very good. All right, I've just, real quick, again, thank you, staff. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Hey, it's actually only like 8:24, so we're done early. So, FYI, just so if you come to City Hall, we're normally there later, so which is great. So, I appreciate everybody coming out. I think we've had everybody. Jill Bland, nice presentation tonight. And Grasshopper's my favorite ice cream. So there you go. And Ron Wise, if he's still here, he helped us out. The Boy Scouts with life-saving last weekend. They're getting their merit badges. So thank you to Ron. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We are adjourned. Thanks. Boom.